galaxy had waited for this moment for a long time. First contact with the new species was always tense, always uncertain. But this time it felt different. This time, it felt safe. On the edge of the Union's outer border, a small science station floated in orbit around a quiet red star. The station was old, its metal skin scratched by decades of dust and radiation. Inside, however, excitement buzzed through every corridor. The scientists, diplomats, and guards were preparing for the arrival of strangers. A message had been sent weeks ago from the newcomers. The words were simple: "We come in peace," that was all. No threats, no demands. Just a calm, clear signal that carried across the void. Dr. Selani, a tall, silver-skinned alien with narrow black eyes, stood at the viewing deck with her hands clasped behind her back. Her voice trembled as she whispered to the officer beside her. "Do you believe it, Captain? A new people, and they begin with peace." Captain Vorek, a broad reptilian warrior with scars across his jaw, gave a slow nod. He did not smile, but his eyes softened. "It is rare, but perhaps, Doctor, perhaps it is true." The station fell silent as the newcomer's ship slid into view. It was not large or threatening. No heavy guns lined its hull, no sharp spikes to show dominance. Instead, it was smooth, grey, and oddly elegant. Its shape was simple, almost humble, as if the builders cared more for function than pride. Gasps filled the observation deck. The ship sent another signal. Polite greetings. "Request for permission to dock and nothing more. They sound..." Selani searched for the word. "Gentle?" "They call themselves humans," Vorek said, reading the translation on his pad. The word felt strange in his mouth. A young species, only just reaching the stars. The Union had met many young species before. Most arrived with arrogance, shouting about empires and demanding resources. Some came with fleets hidden behind them, ready to strike the moment talks failed. And some never asked for peace at all. But these humans were different. They had come alone. One ship, one crew, no weapons raised. As the docking clamps connected, Selani's heart raced. She was chosen to lead the greeting team. She adjusted her silver robe, trying to calm her nerves. Around her, guards stood ready, though their weapons were not drawn. The airlock hissed open. And there they were. 5 figures stepped into the station. They were tall compared to most species, though not as tall as Vorek. Their skin came in different tones, pale brown, dark, and gold. Their eyes were bright and searching, filled with curiosity. And when they smiled, it was not forced. It was warm. "Greetings," said the one in front, a man with short black hair and a calm voice. His words were translated through a small device on his chest. "We are humans. We thank you for allowing us to meet you." Selani blinked in surprise. "No titles, no boasts, no threats, just thanks." "You are welcome here," she replied, bowing slightly. "The Union greets you in peace." The humans bowed back. For hours they spoke in the Great Hall. The humans asked questions about science, about culture, about history. They shared little pieces of their own story, how they had struggled on their world, how they had fought against their own storms, their own hunger, their own wars. But they had survived, and now they wished not to fight others but to learn. The scientists whispered among themselves. Could it be true? Could there really be a species that only wanted peace? Even Captain Vorek, hardened from years of battles, found himself lowering his guard. "Strange," he muttered under his breath. "They speak of wars, yet they carry no weapons. They survived their own struggles, yet they do not bring those struggles here." But while the hall filled with talk and laughter, far above the station something stirred. In the dark beyond the red star, a ripple in space shimmered, so faint that none of the station's sensors noticed. It was like a shadow moving across black water, a shape hidden, cloaked, unseen. The humans in the hall did not speak of it. Perhaps they did not know, or perhaps they did not want to say. Selani felt a strange chill crawl up her spine. She did not know why, but as she looked at the human leader, smiling so kindly at her, she had the sense that something was wrong. Something hidden. For now, the station celebrated. For now it seemed that peace had truly come. But outside, in the silent dark, a Terran Starship waited, and it was not here for peace. The celebration did not last long. For 2 days, the Union station welcomed the humans. There were shared meals, long talks, and promises of future trade. The humans walked through the bright halls with open eyes, studying every detail, every species, every sound. Selani grew more comfortable around them. She noticed their strange habits, how they laughed loudly, how they shook hands firmly, how their eyes seemed to carry both kindness and hidden fire. "They are alive in a way I cannot describe," she whispered to Captain Vorik. The reptilian warrior only grunted. "Too alive, maybe. I still do not trust what I cannot measure." Still, even Vorik admitted that the humans had done nothing wrong. No weapons, no demands, no signs of deceit. For once, perhaps, the Union had found true friends. But in the deep of space, shadows moved. On the third night, the station's sensors flickered. A faint distortion appeared near the edge of the system. At first, the operators thought it was nothing, a piece of drifting rock, a glitch in the scanners. But the distortion grew larger, sharper. Something was there, something hidden. The signal was so faint that only the most careful eyes noticed. One young technician, nervous and tired, raised the alarm. "Captain, there is movement in the dark." Vorik rushed to the control deck, his scales tightening with unease. He stared at the holographic map. Empty space, yet not empty. A shadow was bending the stars, swallowing the light. "Cloaking," Vorik hissed. "A ship is hiding." The room fell silent. Cloaking technology was rare and dangerous. Only war fleets carried such tools. Only predators hid themselves in the night. Selani was called to the deck. When she saw the distortion, her heart sank. "It cannot be the humans. Their ship carries no cloak." "No," Vorik growled, "but it may be another of their kind." As if to answer, the shadow flickered. A massive starship shimmered into view, black as midnight, sharp-edged, its hull covered in strange symbols. It dwarfed the small human vessel. Its weapons bristled along its sides, glowing faintly as if waiting for the order to fire. Gasps echoed through the control room. "It's Terran," Vorik said grimly. "But not the same as the first." "This one came to hunt." The station's alarms wailed. Guards rushed to their posts. Diplomats whispered in fear. Selani's mind raced. Should she warn the humans? Or did they already know? As if reading her thoughts, the human leader, Captain Marcus, appeared on the screen. His face was pale, his voice heavy. "You've seen it, haven't you?" he asked quietly. Selani's throat went dry. "Yes, what is that ship?" Marcus closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, the warmth was gone. Only cold sorrow remained. "It is Terran," he said. "But not ours. Not the ones who seek peace. They are." He hesitated, as if the word itself was painful. "Our war brothers." The room froze. War brothers. That meant they were of the same species, the same origin, and yet so different. Selani stepped closer to the screen. "Why do they hide? Why do they come now?" Marcus lowered his voice. "Because they do not believe in peace. To them, peace is weakness. They followed us here, and now," he looked down almost ashamed, "now they will demand your surrender." As if his words summoned it, the dark starship lit its channels. A voice, cold and metallic, boomed through every speaker in the station. "This is the Terran Dominion." The voice was cruel, filled with pride. "You will submit your station, your people, your resources. Refuse and you will burn." Silence followed. A silence heavier than any sound. Selani's hands trembled. Around her, the diplomats argued in whispers. Some demanded surrender. How could they fight a ship like that? Others insisted on trust. How could they betray the peaceful humans who had come first? Vorik slammed his clawed hand against the console. "Enough. We must decide quickly. If that ship fires, none of us will survive." Selani turned back to Marcus. His image flickered on the screen. His jaw was tight, his eyes fierce. He looked nothing like the calm man she had met days ago. Now he looked like a soldier. "Dr. Selani," he said slowly, "you must choose. Stand with us or fall with them. But know this. Peace will not protect you if you side with the Dominion." Her heart pounded. The hallways of the station seemed smaller, the lights dimmer, the air thinner. For the first time since the humans had arrived, she felt the cold truth. First contact had not ended. It had only begun, and in the dark, two sides of humanity had appeared, one reaching out in peace, the other preparing for war. The Union station had never felt so fragile. On one side floated the peaceful human ship, quiet and unarmed. On the other side, hidden no longer loomed the Terran Dominion vessel, black, massive and armed to the teeth. The two ships could not be more different. One promised peace, the other promised fire. Solani stood at the center of the control deck, her silver skin pale under the lights. Around her, diplomats whispered in panic. Captain Vorek kept his arms folded, his reptilian eyes locked on the Dominion ship. He did not blink once. The Dominion's voice echoed again through the speakers. Aliens of the Union, you will kneel. Your station, your science, your future, all of it belongs to the Terran Dominion. Resist, and you will be destroyed. The threat was simple, direct, no mercy. Solani's chest tightened. She glanced at Marcus, the human leader, who stood beside her now. His crew had come to the station, leaving their ship in orbit. He did not look surprised by the threat. He looked angry. You knew they would come, Solani said quietly. Marcus nodded. Yes, we always knew. The Dominion follows us wherever we go. We escaped them, but they do not forget. They do not forgive. Escaped? Vorek's voice was low, filled with suspicion. You never told us this. Marcus turned to him sharply. Would you have welcomed us if we had? If we told you we were hunted by our own kind, would you have let us dock? Or would you have sent us away to die? The words cut deep. Solani saw the truth in them. Still, anger flared in her chest. You put us in danger. You brought them here. Marcus met her eyes. His voice dropped. Yes, and now you must decide whether to stand with us or bow to them. The control deck fell into chaos. Union diplomats shouted over each other. They have more weapons than we can count. They will kill us all if we resist. No, these humans saved us. We must trust them. We cannot trust any human. They are the same blood. Solani pressed her hands to her ears. The noise, the fear, the pressure, it was all too much. She looked at Marcus again. What will they do if we resist? Marcus's jaw tightened. They will destroy your station. They will enslave your people. And then they will spread across your worlds, taking whatever they want. A silence heavier than stone fell over the deck. Vorek growled. And if we surrender? Marcus turned his gaze to the Dominion ship. His eyes burned with hatred. Then you will die slower, piece by piece, until nothing of your freedom remains. Solani's body went cold. Both choices led to death, but only one path carried even a spark of hope. The Dominion's voice thundered again, louder this time, shaking the very walls of the station. You have one cycle to decide. Kneel or burn. The signal cut. The black starship drifted silently, its weapons glowing faintly, like the eyes of a predator waiting for the kill. Solani slumped into her chair. Her mind raced. She thought of her people, of the years of peace they had worked so hard to build. Could she risk all of it on these humans, on Marcus? She studied him carefully. He stood tall, but not arrogant. His hands trembled slightly, but not from fear, from rage, from the weight of responsibility. You hate them, she said softly. Marcus's eyes flicked toward her. They are everything we fight not to become. Solani swallowed hard. Then why should we believe you are different? You share their blood. You share their world. Marcus stepped closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. Because we left them. We turned our backs on their cruelty. We chose another way. And if you stand with us now, we will fight for you, even if it means dying. His words shook her, not because they were brave, but because they felt true. Vorek let out a harsh laugh. Fight with what? Your ship is weak. Theirs is a monster. You will die in seconds. Marcus looked at him calmly. Perhaps. But if we die standing. And sometimes, Captain, that is enough. Silence spread across the deck once more. Every eye turned to Solani. She was the science leader, the one chosen to guide this first contact. The choice was hers: trust the peaceful humans and risk the wrath of the Dominion, or surrender to the Dominion and lose everything. Her throat went dry. I must think. Marcus gave a slow nod. Then think quickly. They will not wait long. Outside the station, the black starship shifted slightly, its shadow swallowing the stars. Its weapons hummed louder as if eager for blood, and for the first time, Solani realized the terrible truth. This was not just first contact. This was the test of humanity itself. The Union station felt like a cage. Outside, the Terran Dominion warship floated like a dark moon, its cannons glowing with silent hunger. Inside, fear spread like poison. Diplomats argued, soldiers whispered, and even the scientists who once dreamed of peace now wondered if they would live to see another sunrise. Selani walked through the long silver corridors, her mind in chaos. Every word of Marcus echoed in her head, stand with us or fall with them. Could she risk it? Could she trust these humans who came in peace? Or was peace just another mask, another trick? She stopped at the viewing deck. Through the glass the stars shimmered, but the Dominion ship swallowed half the sky. Its black hull looked alive, like a beast waiting to strike. A voice came from behind her. "You look afraid," she turned. Marcus stood there, his dark hair messy, his eyes tired. He had not slept since the Dominion appeared. His crew was the same, faces drawn, nerves sharp, but they stayed calm. They stayed steady. "I am afraid," Selani admitted. "My people are not warriors. We are thinkers, builders, dreamers. We are not made for this." Marcus stepped closer, his voice low. "No one is made for war, but sometimes war finds you anyway." Selani looked at him sharply. "And you think fighting them will save us?" "I don't know," Marcus said honestly, "but I know surrender will destroy you. I have seen it. Entire worlds bent to their will, entire species broken into slaves." His words struck her like knives. The Dominion was not an empty threat. It was a predator, and predators never stopped until the prey was gone. "Then tell me," Selani whispered, "why should we believe in you? Why should we believe in your peace?" Marcus's eyes softened. "Because we chose it. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. And because—" He hesitated, then spoke firmly. "Because we are willing to die to protect it." Selani's throat tightened. These humans were strange, too strange, who offered death as proof of peace. And yet somehow she believed him. Before she could answer, the alarm blared. Red lights flashed across the deck. Vorek's voice thundered over the comms. "The Dominion ship is charging its main cannon." Selani and Marcus ran to the control center. The holographic display showed it clearly. The massive ship was turning, its weapons glowing brighter, power surging through its core. "They're preparing to fire." A technician cried, "Time to impact!" Selani demanded, "Minutes, no more." Panic exploded in the room. Diplomats screamed, guards raised their weapons as if they could fight the ship outside, and some begged to send a surrender signal before it was too late. "Quiet." Vorek roared, slamming his fist into the console. The deck fell silent. His reptilian eyes narrowed at Selani. "Decide now, do we kneel or do we stand?" Selani froze. All eyes turned to her. Her people waited. Her union waited. Even Marcus, silent beside her, waited. Her heart pounded so loudly she could barely think. But when she looked at Marcus, she saw no fear in his eyes. Only resolve, only fire. And in that moment, she made her choice. She turned to the technicians. "Send a signal. Tell the peaceful humans." She hesitated, her voice shaking. "Tell them we stand with them." Gasps filled the room. Some diplomats cursed. Others wept. Vorek gave a slow, fierce grin. Marcus exhaled, his shoulders lowering just slightly. "You won't regret this." But there was no time for relief. The Dominion ship roared to life, its cannon glowing like a small sun. The stars themselves seemed to vanish in its light. The signal cut through the void. "Union stands with the Terran peacekeepers." The Dominion's reply came at once, cruel and sharp. "Then you have chosen death." The black ship's main cannon fired. A beam of white-hot energy streaked across the void, tearing through space, heading straight for the Union station. Selani's breath caught in her throat. There was no time to move, no time to escape. But then, before the beam could strike, another light flared. The peaceful human ship had moved. Its engines screamed, its hull shaking, as it threw itself directly into the path of the blast. The explosion lit the void in fire. The viewing deck windows shook, alarms screamed, and the entire station rocked as the shock wave hit. Selani was thrown to the floor. Around her, people cried out, sparks flying from the consoles. When she pulled herself up, she saw it, the peaceful human ship, its hull cracked, burning, but still standing between the Dominion and the station. Marcus's voice rang out, steady, defiant. "We will not let them take you." The Dominion ship shifted again, its weapons recharging, brighter than ever. The first strike had been stopped. But the real battle was only beginning. The void burned with light. The Dominion's first strike had failed, but the price was heavy. The peaceful human ship floated between the Union station and the massive warship, its hull scarred and smoking. Pieces of metal drifted away like broken wings, yet it still stood. Solani gripped the edge of the control desk, her silver fingers trembling. They shielded us. They took the blast for us. Captain Vorek's voice was rough but full of respect. Fools, brave fools. On the screen Marcus appeared, his face lit by the glow of burning consoles behind him. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, but his voice was steady. Union Station, we will hold the line. Their weapons are stronger, but we are faster. We know their tactics. Stay behind us. Solani's throat tightened. Marcus, your ship cannot survive another hit. Then we make sure it doesn't have to, he said firmly. Outside, the Dominion ship charged again, its dark hull glowing with death. This time, smaller cannons opened fire, spitting lances of red energy. The human ship weaved through the blasts, engines flaring, answering with its own weapons. For the first time, Solani saw the other side of peace. The human vessel, though smaller, fought with desperate courage. Its cannons spat fire, targeting weak points, its crew moving like one living thing. They did not fight for conquest. They fought to protect, Vorek hissed as he watched. They are outnumbered, outgunned. Yet they fight like demons, Solani whispered. No, not demons, guardians. The Dominion ship roared back, unleashing a storm of fire. Explosions tore across the human hull. One engine died, spinning fragments into space. But still they held position, shielding the station. Inside the Union control deck, tension rose to breaking point. Diplomats begged to surrender. Others prayed to gods long forgotten. Solani could not move, could not breathe, only watch. Then Marcus's voice returned, fierce and unshaken. Solani, listen to me. We can't win this fight alone. But together, we can blind them. Her heart leapt. Together, how? Your station has energy shields. Overload them. Turn the power outward. Use it to blind their sensors. Do it when I give the signal. Solani's eyes widened. That could destroy us. Marcus gave a thin smile. It could save you. Trust me. The word trust cut through the fear. She closed her eyes, then gave a sharp nod. We'll be ready. Outside, the human ship dove close to the Dominion's hull, dodging fire by meters, striking at weak points, forcing the larger vessel to turn. Sparks lit the void, debris scattering like meteors. Then Marcus's voice rang out, Now! Solani slammed her hand on the console. The Union station groaned, power surging, lights flickering. Energy screamed through the circuits until the air itself buzzed with heat. Then, in a single burst, the station's shields flared outward, an explosion of blinding light. The Dominion ship staggered, its sensors overwhelmed. Its weapons fired blindly into the void, missing their target. Marcus seized the moment. His ship twisted, engines blazing, diving straight at the Dominion vessel's cannon. Solani's heart stopped. No, Marcus, don't. But it was too late. The human ship slammed into the cannon's core. A blinding explosion tore across space, fire ripping through the Dominion's hull. For a moment, the darkness lit brighter than a sun. The viewing deck shook violently, glass rattling, alarms shrieking. Solani fell to her knees, staring wide-eyed at the firestorm outside. When the light faded, the massive Dominion ship was broken. Its cannon was gone, half its hull torn open, drifting helpless in the void. But the human ship was gone too. Only burning fragments remained, scattered like stars. Silence fell over the control deck. No one spoke. No one moved. Solani's hands shook as tears blurred her vision. Vorek bowed his head, his voice low. They gave their lives. For us. A crackle came through the comms, faint, broken. Marcus's voice. Solani, we're not all gone. Escape pods. Launching now! Solani gasped, rushing to the console. Small signals appeared on the scanners, tiny pods drifting through space. Survivors. They had not all perished. Relief flooded her chest. We see you. We'll bring you in. Moments later, the pods were docked. From one of them, Marcus stepped out, limping, blood on his face, but alive. His crew followed, battered but breathing. The Union Hall fell silent as he entered. All eyes turned to him, not with suspicion now, but with awe. Solani stepped forward, voice breaking. You saved us. You gave everything. Marcus met her eyes, weary but firm. No, we gave only what had to be given. That is what peace means. It must be protected. The station erupted in cheers and tears. Even Vorek bowed his scarred head in respect. Solani whispered to herself, staring at the man before her. First contact was not peaceful. It was a test, and humanity passed. Outside, the broken Dominion ship drifted into the dark, a warning to all who would come next. And in that silence, the Union learned the truth of the humans. They were not only warriors, they were not only seekers of peace, they were both. And that made them more dangerous and more hopeful than any species the galaxy had ever seen.